Hello? Samuela, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you clearly, sir.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Okay. Yes, I can hear you clearly. We can go ahead. We can go ahead.
Okay, as I was saying, thank you so much and welcome for those that just joined us. I am Samuel Atrin from Nayomakuni, the Vice President of the Faculty of Law, Godfrey Okoye University, and the moderator for this webinar is Edu the PRO02 of the Faculty of Law, Godfrey Okoye University. So today's webinar on career opportunities in ADR will be taken by Nanchang Nangwan Esquire, a lawyer and principal partner of his very own law firm. He's also the executive director of the House ADR Training Institute. There is no fitting person to take this topic. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Thank you for making it despite your busy schedule. We appreciate you, sir. Can you guys hear me?
Very
Hello?
well.
Okay. Then for the participants, please, you guys should listen. This is an opportunity to learn the foundational basis of ADR and explore career opportunities in ADR too. So if you have any questions, you can ask our speaker. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And now over to Edu, the moderator.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Just as Samuel has said, my name is Eduno Godfrey Okoye, and I am your moderator for today. Please, can we all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you from this end.
Okay, please, I need another person to respond to be sure.
Yes, I can hear you, Virtue.
Okay, so right now we will be reviewing expectations from the participants. So please, if I call your name, please just kindly unmute yourself and tell us what you are expecting to gain from today's webinar. So, okay, let's start with Mustafa Issa. Your name is attractive. So please unmute yourself and tell us what you hope to gain from this webinar. Thank you. Mustafa Issa, please, did you hear me?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, it is my pleasure to be in your midst.
Thank you.
My expectation is to continue learning about ADR on this program.
Okay, thank you very much, Mustafa. So let's take. Okay, Mustafa, please, are you done?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, the next person we'll be hearing from is Wachuku Zimuzo. Please, Zimuzo, can you hear me?
Yes, good evening. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you. Please, let's hear your expectations from the webinar.
Okay. I guess I just want to be able to learn enough to know whether or not I want to like fully get into arbitration, because I already know a little bit about it, but I want to like really develop my understanding on career prospects rather in arbitration. And I think this webinar will help me with that. So
All right, thank you very, very much, Zim. So from the last person, let's hear from Kyota Yepui Rejoice. Rejoice, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Please, can you tell us your expectations from the webinar?
Good evening, everybody. What
Good
I'm
evening.
expecting from today's webinar, I want to broaden my horizon about ADR. I'm currently writing my project on ADR, so I want to learn more about it and even see how to fit it into my project. And also career path, of course, I am studying for the money also, so I want to see the opportunities ADR have for me when I'm done with school. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rejoice. So, okay, since we have another person that just joined us, we are looking at reviews of expectations from the participants. So let's ask another person. This is probably the wife of our guest speaker. So please, Mrs. Janet Nanchan, please, can you hear me? Mrs. Janet.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you for joining us. It's a privilege.
You're welcome.
Please, we'd like to hear your review of what you expect from this webinar. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, all. Like from the topic of the webinar, say career opportunities in alternative dispute resolution. So I'm expecting to know the career or the opportunities that are there for me to explore in alternative dispute resolution. Okay, what are the things I can gain? What are the things that will know that will help me in my relationship with people, as in, because alternative dispute resolution is all about knowing different ways of resolving disputes out of the courtroom. So I also want to develop my knowledge on knowing these other ways of exploring settlement, and also to know the career opportunities that are there. And I also want to employ all the participants to follow up, learn, and then pay keen attention, ask questions where the need arises, and then just have an open heart to learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ma. We really appreciate. Okay, so we've heard some of the reviews. If I didn't call you, please don't be offended. It's because of time. Okay, so we'll be going into recognition of distinguished personalities. First of all, shout out to everybody who joined this webinar today. We all know the Zoom problem, data and all, but some people still took out time to join. So you are all welcome, and you are very special, and you are a distinguished personality. So please shout out to you and clap for yourself wherever you are. But first and foremost, let's welcome the guest speaker. He will be introduced properly in the course of this webinar, but his name is Nanchang Nangwang Esquire. So he's the most distinguished personality, and I think his wife is also here, Mrs. Janet Nangwang. So then we also have the Vice President of LOSA, Godfrey Okoye University, Makune Samuela. She's a very distinguished personality today. So you are all welcome to this webinar. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Please let me hear my "you're welcome" back. Please unmute yourself and tell me you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now we will be looking at about SHATI. About SHATI, we all know the institution that is in charge of this webinar, apart from the Vice President's office, is SHATI, which is Settlement House ADR Training Institute. Settlement House ADR Training Institute, SHATI. Let's all say SHATI. So I'll be sure we are together.
SHATI.
Only one person is talking. Please, we have like about 16 participants. So please, let's say SHATI. So I'll be sure we are following.
SHATI.
Okay, that we have Mustafa, Mata, Nelson, Ngozi, Zim, Shukebuka, Murphy, Oluchi. Please, I want to hear SHATI.
SHATI.
Thank you. Okay, so let's learn more about SHATI. SHATI means Settlement House ADR Training Institute, and it is an alternative dispute resolution training institute located in Nigeria. And this institute was established in year 2021, and since its inception, it has successfully established its presence across various public and social interactive platforms, engaging participants with the objective of training, practicing, coaching, and carrying out alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. The Institute also delivers lectures, workshops, seminars, and peace and conflict sensitization in all ramifications in line with international best practices. What an institute. So SHATI is acquainted with international best standards for the practice of ADR. As such, we carry out a wide range of services channeled towards personal, societal, and organizational development with our coaching, mentorship, training, practice, certification, and consultancy programs in ADR, anchored on the principle of cost effectiveness. Please, are we still following? Please, are we still following? Please, I want to be sure that everybody's with me.
Yes, please. Yes.
We're here.
Thank you. Okay, so the Institute also delivers lectures, workshops, seminars, and peace and conflict sensitization in all ramifications in line with international best practices. And SHATI is acquainted with international best standards. Please help mute yourself. Thank you. So SHATI is acquainted with international best standards for the practice of ADR. As such, we carry out a wide range of services channeled towards personal, societal, and organizational development with our coaching, mentorship, training, practice, certification, and consultancy programs in ADR, anchored on the principle of cost effectiveness. So based on the aforementioned principle, the ones we just mentioned, we strive to provide a platform for the efficient resolution of disputes accessible to all classes of people in society, both poor, rich, and all. We equip and develop our trainees or participants to be proficient in ADR and to serve as peacemakers, conflict resolution experts, and managers with a high sense of commitment, professionalism, and integrity. Our vision is creating an informed and peaceful community by making alternative, appropriate dispute resolution, ADR, a preferred dispute and conflict resolution mechanism for life, business, and faith. And our mission, number one, is by ensuring where practicable that both paid and sponsored trainings, workshops, seminars, webinars, skills acquisition, accreditation, enhancement, development, certification, and other relevant programs of SHATI are conducted in other languages in addition to the English language in order to empower more people with the relevant and requisite dispute and conflict resolution skills. Please, are we still following? Please, are we still following?
Yes, we are.
Again, only one person is responding. Please, are we still following?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. So our second mission is providing an effective, accessible, and inexpensive platform for amicable, peaceful, easy, and quick resolution of disputes and conflicts, as well as serving as an independent authority for the appointment of neutrals, both within and outside Nigeria. So before I continue, at the end of this reading, somebody will tell us the full meaning of SHATI. So please, let's get ready. Okay. Our third mission is by establishing SHATI ADR Center, equipped with the state-of-the-art facility for the conduct of ADR proceedings and to serve as a platform for the purpose of bridging the gap between theory and practice of ADR. And then by providing an affordable venue and platform for coaching, mentorship, training, and practice of mediation, arbitration, advocacy, and any other form of alternative dispute resolution. Then by carrying out skills enhancement, development training, coaching, mentorship, practice, regulation, and certification in faith-based alternative dispute resolution. And by providing developmental consultancy services in alternative dispute resolution, peace, conflict resolution, and management. And the last one is to synergize and collaborate with local, national, and international educational institutions and organizations for the purpose of promoting literacy and eradicating illiteracy by the provision of an inexpensive platform for easy access to quality education. So this is about ADR. This is about ADR. Now, like I said, somebody will tell us the full meaning of ADR. So, okay, I can see Ajogu Oluchi. Mustafa, did you say something, please? Okay.
Hello?
Please, did you say something, Mustafa?
Okay, ADR is an abbreviation of alternative dispute resolution.
Okay, please. The question is the full meaning of SHATI, and the question was directed to Ajogu Oluchi. Thank you.
Okay.
So please, Ajogu Oluchi, can you hear me? Ajogu Oluchi, please, can you hear me? Okay. In her absence, let's take Ikechukwu House Isochukwu Princess. Please, can you hear me? Ikechukwu House Isochukwu Princess. Okay.
I can hear you.
Please, can you tell us the full meaning of SHATI?
Settlement House of ADR Training Institute.
Please say it again.
I'll go on.
Kosi, please say it again. Okay. So SHATI means Settlement House ADR Training Institute. Settlement House ADR Training Institute. Thank you. Please mute yourself. Okay, please, are we still following? Because I'm about to move to the next item on our list. Please, are we still following? Please, if you are still following, unmute yourself and say yes.
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 Right on, please.
Okay, I've only heard about 4 people. Where are the rest now? The remaining 20. Please unmute yourself and say yes so we can move on.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, thank you everybody for following. Now we will be introducing our speaker. Remember, the topic for today's webinar is career opportunities in alternative dispute resolution, ADR. Career opportunities in alternative dispute resolution, ADR, and it's hosted by Settlement House ADR Training Institute, SHATI, in collaboration with the Office of the Vice President, Faculty of Law, Godfrey Okoye University, Enugu. So our guest speaker for today, is Nanchang Nangwan Esquire. So we would be doing his citation, we'll be reciting his citation now. So please let's listen carefully and know what we have in store today. Okay. Can we all hear me, please? I'm having a break in my network.
I can hear you.
I'm so sorry. Okay, please, let's continue. Thank you. Nanchang Nangwan is a lawyer and the principal partner of the law firm in Nanchang and Co., a law firm based in Kaduna, Nigeria. He is a certified teacher, trainer, and facilitator. He is a faculty member and the executive director of Settlement House ADR Training Institute, SHATI, an institution for the training, certification, and practice of alternative dispute resolution. He is a faculty member of Nigerian Institute of Chartered Arbitrators. Wow. He is a certified dispute resolution specialist, an international mediation campus trained mediator, an attorney mediator, a certified mediation advocate and arbitrator, a certified negotiator, an ADR practitioner, a restorative justice practitioner, and a certified emotional intelligence specialist. Just wow. He is a certified conflict manager, a certified ADR registrar/secretary, a holder of Mediator Academy United Kingdom certificate in commercial mediation accredited by Institute of Chartered Arbitrators, UK, a medical law enthusiast and employment and labor law expert. He has keen interest in the application of ADR in the resolution of medical and negligence disputes, workplace disputes, commercial mediation, faith-based disputes, land disputes, family disputes, among others. As a dispute resolution specialist, he has handled several disputes which were amicably settled out of court. He is ever willing and ready to volunteer for and contribute to the development and practice of alternative dispute resolution. He is Nanchang Nangwang Esquire, DRS, ASTMA UK, Executive Director, Settlement House ADR Training Institute. So, without further ado, we now welcome our guest speaker for this seminar proper. Thank you very much, Nanchang Nangwang Esquire, for joining us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I feel very excited. Anytime I have the opportunity to share the gospel of ADR, I see myself as an apostle of ADR. And I'm very, very excited today to be speaking to you about career opportunities in alternative dispute resolution. Now, I understand that a lot of us are lawyers in the making, and we have other lawyers and non-lawyers who are participating in this session. I want to appreciate you all and thank you for creating time out of your busy schedules to be part of this training. I actually hope that your time here is going to be worthwhile. I want to express my profound gratitude to the Law Students Association, Godfrey Okoye University, Enugu, and the Vice President particularly.
Godfrey Okoye University, sir.
Godfrey.
Yes, sir.
Godfrey Okoye University. Particularly, my gratitude goes to the Vice President for actually making this a reality. We are very, very grateful. I bring you greetings from the governing body of Settlement House ADR Training Institute, and we really appreciate what you have done. I pray that the impact of what you have done today will be remembered for life, and it may be the avenue or the cause for revolution in the dispute resolution from today. So without much waste of time, I want us to go straight to our discussion for today. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Thank you. Please, at any point. Okay. At any point. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir, now.
Okay, thank you. So please, at any point in time, when you feel you can't hear me, please let me know so that I will do the needful. Thank you. So, without waste of time, they've introduced me proper. I'm the Executive Director of Settlement House ADR Training Institute, and it is actually my singular honor to present to you ADR and the career opportunities that are available in alternative dispute resolution. Well, we have been referring to it as alternative dispute resolution because a lot of us have come to understand that it is alternative dispute resolution, but we have gone past this level. We are looking, we consider it as appropriate dispute resolution. And when you go further, you get to know that it is now considered as negotiated settlement. So ADR, having said that, career opportunity, is it possible for someone to make a career out of ADR or to become an ADR practitioner, especially for our group of persons, the students who are aspiring to become lawyers? Do you need to abandon the practice of law in order to become an ADR practitioner, or you can actually combine the two and do it very well and effectively? Now, simply put, ADR, or alternative dispute resolution, is an avenue for the amicable resolution of disputes out of the courtroom. Now, it may interest you to know that some of us as lawyers are trained in the adversarial way of resolving disputes. So, we have this strength and energy and the ability to, resolve every dispute by going to the courtroom. So, but then we're going to be looking at the reasons why we should embrace ADR as a means of resolution of dispute. I do not mean to say that litigation has litigation is not an effective way of resolving disputes, but what I mean to say is that ADR is an appropriate way of resolving dispute, appropriate because of several reasons that I'm going to share with you in a moment. The litigation aspect of resolving dispute through the courtroom has a lot of disadvantages. Talking about your time, looking at, the interests of the parties involved in the disputes, looking at the procedures and the technicalities involved, looking at the fact that, going to court and going to several levels of the court, the 3 layers of the court, major, superior court, have become the basis for becoming senior advocates of Nigeria. So we have a lot of litigations, things that ordinarily ought to be settled out of court. You see that people are pushing it, especially lawyers will push it to the point that they will want this thing to go to court, go to the High Court, go to the Court of Appeal, and then eventually to the Supreme Court, because these are requirements. You need to become a senior advocate of Nigeria. On the other hand, people who truly resolve dispute through ADR are not, because of the confidential nature, you may not be allowed to bring out all the matters and cases that you have resolved through the ADR to say, okay, this also forms my qualification to become a senior advocate of Nigeria. So you see that the clients are suffering, the system is suffering, justice are not dispensed, and there is this saying that says a justice delayed is justice denied. I believe that some of us are aware of that, right? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now, what's the advantage of using ADR? as a means of resolving dispute, you look at first confidentiality. The court system is structured in such a way that anybody can walk into the courtroom, listen to the matters, applied for certified true copies of the proceedings, whether it's a party or not, but ADR is actually confidential. Aside from the parties in the dispute, involved in the dispute, and any other person they decide to allow into the room, the negotiation table, nobody else. And whatsoever is discussed in the mediation session or the ADR session, is private and confidential. So for the mediator, for the parties, all of them are bound by confidentiality. So you are not bothered with, am I going to release my secret? Are they going to publish it and all of those things? You are not bothered with it. That is not obtainable in the courtroom, except for special cases like maybe minors, where matters have to be heard in camera. Now, you see, the good thing about ADR is that what a wonderful thing that parties themselves have a say in the dispute. They are the one involved in the appointment of either the arbitrator or the mediator or the negotiator. And then they are the one also that decide the outcome of their disputes. The expert, like I am, I will just be there either as an arbitrator or a mediator to, especially in mediation, to give guidance, to help the parties discuss and negotiate to the point where they come to an amicable settlement. So, and at the end of it, the mediator does not actually give judgment. The parties themselves decide their disputes. Imagine a situation where you file a matter in court and you choose who is going to help you resolve the matter or who is going to decide for you. That's the advantage of ADR. And then satisfaction, of course. If you are the one who decides the dispute, you are the one who decide your fate, decide and agree, you discuss, you feel involved. You are going to own the process. You are going to own the outcome. Unlike someone who is compelled, you are owing, pay 50,000 naira within 2 weeks. ADR affords you the opportunity to say, yes, I'm owing. I'm going to pay 50,000 naira, but you see, I am a salary earner. Is it possible for you to allow it? Maybe after this month, I will pay a month after, or at the end of the month, I will pay. Those are the things that are not obtainable in court. You don't negotiate in court, So you see that aspect of the fact that you are involved in the process and you decide the outcome of the process, make you feel very satisfied. And you see, there will be no need to go and begin to execute, really, because the parties themselves are the one who agreed on the outcome. And more importantly, do you know that when you agree and then your judgment, your agreement is filed in a multi-door courthouse and then before an ADR judge and it is assented to, it becomes consent judgment and then it's enforceable like every other judgment of court. So, and then you cannot easily appeal against a consent judgment. That's one advantage. It put to rest all this contention of appeal and appeal. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me and whether or not I'm fast?
We can hear you, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, am I fast?
No, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm fast.
Not
Okay.
really, not really.
All right, okay. So now, at the end of the dispute, if it is a business relationship and something went sour, when you resolve through ADR, there is possibility that you will continue your relationship. You can shake each other, hug each other, and then you find your way. You go and continue your business. But it's difficult for you to actually resolve your matter through the courtroom. And then after they declare your opponent the winner, and they say, wow, great, this is wonderful, praise God. He got judgment against me. It never happens. It never happens. Rather, you say, It's either they bribe the judge or they did not appraise the situation properly. No, the judge is not seeing what I'm saying. And then you see discontention. People go to the Court of Appeal. Now, these are some of the advantages of ADR. And that's why I will employ a lot of us to actually look out for these things. You know, the good thing about ADR is that it presents a lot of opportunities for everyone. Whether you are a lawyer in the making or you are a non-lawyer, you have all this opportunity to make a career. What is actually a career? Say a career refers to a particular occupation for which you are trained. Now you can say as a lawyer, you are trained, right? You are trained to become a dispute resolution person. You help people resolve their disputes, but mainly through the courtroom. So you are a career, you help people, and you see the good thing is that lawyers are the gatekeepers in the dispute resolution system. So when anybody has a dispute, he goes to a lawyer and the lawyer advises him on what to do. So for those of you who are aspiring to become lawyers, you know, you can become a lawyer. Then this 21st century, clients are actually looking for solutions. It is not actually a good thing for a businessman to borrow money and then he's paying interest. Then all of a sudden his money got hooked in a bad business and then he has to spend 2-3 years pursuing how to recover his money. When that happens, you know, that becomes a problem. So you'll be paying the interest, your money, you have not used the money to do the business that you're supposed to earn from, and then you are paying interest, you are running at a loss. So currently, clients are interested in results. They want to see that their disputes are resolved, their monies are recovered, and then not all these long procedure, long processes in court. Clients are getting tired. So we are saying that as a student, you have opportunity to make a career in ADR. In fact, there is no regulation that says you cannot practice as an ADR practitioner when you are a student or until you become a lawyer. No, you can actually become a qualified ADR practitioner even as a student, and you will practice. So you can make a career out of this. Now, one thing that we must know, you know, is the fact that conflicts and disputes exist everywhere. Who agrees with me? Is it true that disputes exist everywhere? Who agrees with me?
Yes, I agree completely.
Okay. Now, imagine if disputes and conflicts exist everywhere, it means that disputes and conflicts are inevitable in our society, right? Yes, I needed to be sure that we're all together. So please, you can unmute and answer, you know, so that we can move together. Now, if dispute exists everywhere, at home, are there disputes? In school, are there disputes? In the church, are there disputes? In the mosques, are there disputes?
Yes, sir.
Please, can you answer me? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the street, when you are entering the bus, are there disputes? Are there conflicts? You know, it's everywhere. Everywhere. In marriages, between families, siblings, brothers, sisters, conflict abound everywhere.
It's everywhere, sir.
Yes, so if that is the situation, if conflict abound everywhere, then those conflicts and those disputes are begging for answers. They are begging for solutions. Now imagine a situation where you build a career out of something that happens every time. We are not saying that conflict or disputes should be happening, but the truth is that there is nothing we can do about it. And that is why we are trying to train as many conflict resolution specialists. We're trying to train as many conflict resolution, dispute resolution specialists that will assist in. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so
Yes,
we're training as many dispute resolution specialists as possible so that we can be able to train, we can be able to have people who can be a solution to some of these things. Now, we are told that if you want to make a business, that will survive, look for something that actually happens concurrent, as in every time. For example, pure water. If you have a business of selling pure water, or that you build houses, people come in and go, or that maybe it is you have public facilities for people to ease themselves, all these kind of things that requires attention every day, every now and then, these are businesses that are not likely to go out anytime soon. Are we together? So where disputes occur, there is need for us to have people who are going to help in the resolution of these disputes. And that is why we said that this is actually an opportunity. Now, come to think of it, some of us are in the universities. Some of us have finished universities. Some of us are looking for work. But the situation is that in Nigeria, people are always looking for work to do. People who have graduated are looking for work. Some people spend 2, 3, 4 years at home. Now, why can't you think of something that you can do using the knowledge you have acquired and the stress and the thorough teaching and training you received in the university to build a future for yourself, to build a career for yourself, to carve a niche for yourself in the resolution of disputes? Now, for example, you see, we have a lot of law students here, mostly law students that are going to graduate and go to the law school. Can you imagine the number of law students that are being called to the Nigerian bar every year? Please, can somebody answer me? How many lawyers are called to the bar every year? Can somebody answer me?
I think anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000.
Okay. Now, in your school, sir, how many are you in your class?
69.
69. Is that correct? Did I get you right? 69, yes. Right?
1,490.
1,490. Wow.
Yes, and last.
Wow. Okay, now, this is just one faculty of law. We are not talking about government universities. We are not talking about private universities. These are the number of lawyers. And you know that it's not everybody that gets admission into the law school. So if that is the situation, what do? When you are called to the bar, you are called to the bar in thousands. Where are the work? Where are the opportunities? But you see, some of us study different aspects of the law. Some of us are in commercial law, some are in private law, some are in international law, some are in employment law, some are in diverse environmental law, petroleum law, all of those in taxation law. We are all studying different aspects of the law. Now, do you know that you have a career to make or a niche to carve for yourself in those different aspects of law that you are studying? Imagine a situation where you become an environmental law expert and then you become an alternative dispute resolution specialist in that field. Now, what you do is that as a lawyer, you can go to court to resolve these disputes, but that when they are looking for a specialist who can assist them to resolve their dispute out of court, as it is the custom of all these multinational and all these big organizations who don't usually go to court, you know, if that is what they are looking for, you are both a legal expert when it comes to going to court, and then you are now a specialist and you decide to specialize in helping people or clients resolve their disputes out of court in that particular field. Now, if you are a general practitioner, we have a lot of general practitioners, just like general doctors. But when you are looking for a surgeon, you are looking for a brain doctor, you are looking for an ear doctor, you are looking for an eye doctor. These are specializations. Generally, you see that they are actually lawyers, they are doctors. But when you look at the other aspect of it, they are specialists when it comes to the eye, the ear, the nose, the throat, the heart, you know, and all of those things. So as a lawyer or a lawyer in the making, if at the stage of being in school, you begin to train yourself, you begin to prepare yourself that I am going to prepare myself both as a legal expert and an ADR expert in this particular field. Do you know that even before you leave school, some of your mates will become aware that this is the situation of this person, this is the expertise of this my friend, and tomorrow, who knows, he may call you for a matter. I know you are vast in that area, because when it comes to dispute resolution like mediation and arbitration, especially arbitration, where I had someone say he has a knowledge of arbitration and then he wants to know more. Now you see, in arbitration, when you are going to be appointed, the clients will be looking at your subject matter expertise. They want to employ someone who is a construction law expert to help them resolve a construction law problem, So if you are an environmental environmental law expert, you can be appointed to help resolve dispute that relates to the environment. So what I'm trying to say is that people are actually trained in school with this mindset. When you finish, you want to go and work in a law firm. Even when you go to the law firm, when you are specialized in ADR, you have a special place, because we have everybody who is a lawyer. All of us are lawyers. So what distinguishes you and your services from another person? What makes you a priority than another? So these are some of the things you should be looking for. People are crying employment opportunity, employ also, do this and that. We are suffering, employ the youth, employ lawyers and all of those things. If you make yourself valuable, people are going to look for you. Are we together to this point? Are we together?
Yes, sir. We're together, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So
Yes,
now,
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Great. I hope we are making sense.
Seriously, sir.
Right. Now, here is a popular saying by Garth Brooks. He says the greatest conflicts are not just between two people, but between one person and himself. Is it true that a person can have conflict just within himself, by himself? Is it true?
Yes.
Certainly. So that is
yes,
why.
Possible, sir.
Yes, that is why we say that conflict abounds everywhere. That is maybe interpersonal conflict, but we are talking about personal conflict within yourself. You have somebody who has finished law, he has not gotten work. How can I go to the university, spend 5 years, go to the law school, spend 1 year and I finish, then there is no work? What am I going? This is a useless society. Have you heard of some people actually putting fire on themselves. They burn themselves. They commit suicide by burning themselves because they were discontented with the situation of the society. You've heard of situations like that, right? So now, when somebody is unable to resolve the conflict within him, that is when you see situations where somebody commits suicide. You know, you have committed something, you have done something that you cannot reconcile. You feel that, oh, how can I do something like this? How can the whole me do something like this? Oh, I have needs, I have problems. What do I do? How do I resolve it? I'm now a lawyer. I cannot cater for myself. I'm supposed to take care of my family, take care of my mother, take care of my dad, take care of my siblings. Now I'm still borrowing. I'm still asking them to help me. Which kind of situation is this? Those kind of conflicts, when you keep them within yourself, then tomorrow we hear that one person has gone to commit suicide, another person has done this, has done that, and all of those things. So interpersonal conflicts within, these are all things that happen. So you can actually help someone resolve this conflict, whether it is within or without, and you can start practicing these things even from school. Now look at what is happening on the screen. The unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is alarming. As at the year 2021, according to Premium Times, in March 16, they said the unemployment rate, according to National Bureau of Statistics, is 33.3%. This is everybody, according to what they are saying. Now you see the unemployment rate and then the underemployment rate and all of those things. Now, lawyers are also part of these people who are unemployed. Lawyers are part of those who are unemployed. And then we are saying that you can also be self-employed. Not necessarily, you can actually go and open a firm, open an office to practice as an ADR practitioner. But as a lawyer, you know, you need some time to do some tutelage, to learn, you know, to be able to balance what you have learned in theory and what is obtainable in practice. But that for ADR, you also need to learn certain things, but then you can actually confidently begin to practice these things, even among your friends, among your family, you know, among your mates, you know, in school. So, and then when you do this and you master the art of helping people resolve disputes, definitely you are going to earn from it. Now, unemployment, we are looking at this unemployment in connection to career opportunities, so that you see the situation of our country and what is happening. Lawyers are also not exempted from it. A lot of lawyers are living miserable lives, despite the fact that they have invested a lot of money in training. Now, look at people who finish school, have the certificate, are actually looking for white-collar jobs. I want a work that they can pay me some money. I want allowances, traveling allowances. I want
No, we can't hear you.
Hello, Andy.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So you see, even if you go, for you to get employment in these top law firms, it's actually a tough game. You need someone to recommend you. You need, maybe your father knows someone, a lot of things. The corruption, not only in law firms, when it comes to employment, in our society generally, you have to begin to think of what you can do with the knowledge you are acquiring and the investment and the training you are undergoing in school. What do I do with it? The population, you can see that is growing on daily basis. So you cannot afford to say you are going to sit down, you are now a lawyer, you are looking for where you just go and sit down, they will be paying you salary. Now, as good as payment of salary is, it is important for you to develop something for yourself. When you work for someone for a long period of time, you are developing the person's legacy. What are you doing for yourself? ADR is something that you can do conveniently without interfering with, even with your legal work in the law firm. So these are things I need to, open up your mind to begin to think of opportunities and begin to do them now. The next few months, 1 year, 2 years, you should be able to do something very, very explosive in this regard. Now, they train us to become lawyers, but they don't train us on the skills of applying the knowledge we have acquired to make money. Entrepreneurial skills. So it is very, very important for you to acquire those skills, those entrepreneurial skills, how to convert the knowledge you have acquired, the trainings you have acquired to be able to make money, to cater for yourself and those who are depending on you. Now, because of the situation we find ourselves, there is a lot of dependence. A lot of people are depending on the government to provide resources for them, provide employment for them. People are depending on their parents, to cater for them even after they graduate from school. Unlike those days, when you finish school, a job is waiting for you. But you see, we live in a society where somebody will have a job secured for him before he goes to school. He will go and finish the school and come back and occupy that place. And the person who needs the job to take care of himself and his family is not seeing anything. So if you are going to be depending on government, you are going to actually be in serious trouble. Now, having considered all of these things, I believe that your mind would have been thinking of, what do I do? Where are the opportunities? Where can I begin to build myself? Which area can I build myself to become something, develop my expertise and my ability, and all of those things. Now look at this, just look at this diagram. ADR mechanisms. We have different ADR mechanisms, alternative ways of resolving disputes. We have several of them here. Now, you have negotiation, you have mediation, you have arbitration, you have conciliation. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, negotiation, conciliation, you have court referred, and then you have hybrid processes. Hybrid processes like mediation, negotiation, med up, or arbitration, mediation, ABMED, we have mini trials, a lot of procedures. But then the major ones we have here is, you see, negotiation. Negotiation is something that we do every day. When you go, you are going to school, and then, somebody is there before you. He has kept a seat for someone and put something on it, and they say, please, who is sitting here? Please, can you allow me to sit? You say, okay, why not? That's negotiation. When you want to enter the bus, and then the person says, the driver says it is 1,000 naira. You say, please, I'm a student. What do we do? Please, can you help me? I have 400 naira. You say, so you are a student. Okay, no problem. You can, come in. That's negotiation. So negotiation basically happens between the parties. Negotiation actually happens between the parties. Are we together? Are we together, please? Yes. So where a dispute occurs and the parties themselves are meeting, discussing on the way forward, that's negotiation. So you can be a trained negotiator who can actually help your clients or yourself resolve disputes when you are personally involved or someone that is important to you is involved. You know, you can get trained as a negotiator. Then mediation. Mediation is simply an assisted negotiation where the parties to the conflict were not able to resolve their disputes. They now appoint a neutral third party to help them resolve the dispute. Now remember, the mediator that is appointed is not there to take decision for the parties. He's just there to help the parties facilitate the negotiation that they could not actually use and resolve their disputes. Emanuela, can you mute all? Now, that is negotiation, but when it comes to arbitration, arbitration also has to do with the appointment of a neutral third party. There could be it could be an individual arbitrator or a panel of arbitrators, of 3 arbitrators, for example, wherein maybe one of the parties, 2 parties appoint one, and then the 2 that were appointed will now appoint one who is going to preside over the arbitration. In this arbitration, what happens is that neutral third party is given the power to be able to take decisions that will bind the disputants. So you see, this is also an area where you can decide to say, okay, I want to specialize in this one. In fact, nothing stops you from doing all of them. Conciliation. You see, the mediator does not give advice, he facilitates. A conciliator actually gives advice and suggests solutions, but it has to be approved by the parties themselves. So you can decide to get involved in all of those things, especially like in marital relationship. You cannot say, okay, you love your wife. You know, you can't compel a man to love his wife or a woman to love her husband. You can only make suggestion, and then the parties may decide to agree to with your suggestion or disagree with it. That is that. So then you now have processes that begins with mediation and end up in arbitration, and begins with arbitration and end with mediation. This is what it means. That is why we emphasize that don't just stay in one aspect of the ADR mechanism. Be specialize actually in all of them, so that you can start a process where the arbitration is required. Say, oh, I'm not just a negotiator or a mediator, I'm not an arbitrator. You see that you have shot yourself on the leg. So because of these hybrid processes, there is need for people to get specialized in all the ADR mechanisms. Are we together? Then court-referred ADR actually has to do with, the court referring matters for parties to the court, either to multi-door courthouse or in the United States, where you have mediators who are registered with the court. They can refer a matter directly from the court to an individual, but we have not gotten to that level in Nigeria. Now, what is the career? What is the opportunity that is there for you and I as either lawyers or aspiring lawyers? Non-lawyers alike. ADR is open to everyone. Whether you are a lawyer, a law student, you all have this advantage. If you are a non-lawyer, that particular course you study, let's say you are a civil engineer, we have specialized, we have construction arbitration, construction mediation. That has to do with resolution of dispute. We have medical disputes. For example, where you are a medical doctor and you decide to get trained and certified by Settlement House to become a dispute resolution specialist or a mediator or an arbitrator, what happens? Where there is a dispute that is medically inclined, if you appoint me as an arbitrator and I accept the appointment, eventually I'm going to need the services of a medical doctor who is a specialist in that field, depending on the kind of dispute. So please, when he says your medulla oblongata, I say, hey, what? Please calm down first. What do you mean by medulla oblongata? So I will need to seek the interpretation of a specialist who will come and tell me that medulla oblongata is the brain. Then another person will come and tell me that no, it has to do with an aspect of the brain, not the brain. So that's specialization. So whether you are a lawyer or a non-lawyer, ADR is open to you. Imagine becoming a specialist in resolving a specialized kind of disputes, as opposed to a general kind of practice where you do everything. You need to carve a niche for yourself. You need to carve a niche for yourself. Are we together, please? Confirm if we are together.
Yes, sir. Yes, we are.
Oh, great. So we have career opportunities. You can actually dive into any of these things. One, you can be a mediator. I've explained what a mediator is. Then you can be a mediation advocate or advisor. Now, quickly, a mediation advocate and a mediation advisor, they are the same thing, but different personalities involved. Where a lawyer is trained as a mediation, let me just say that a mediation advocate or a mediation advisor is a special kind of a set of people who are trained to represent clients in the mediation session. For example, where there is a mediation between A and B, instead of bringing in a lawyer who is trained to be adversarial, you can get another person who is trained as a mediation advocate or a mediation advisor to actually be the one to help you in resolving that issue. So just like lawyers go to court and represent their clients, mediation advocate and mediation advisors actually goes to the mediation session or mediation ADR session and represent their clients either alone or together with their clients. So you can be any one of those. When you are a lawyer and you are trained in this art of representing people in a mediation session, you become a mediation advocate. But if you are a non-lawyer and you are trained with the skills and equipped with the ability to represent clients in a mediation session, you are called a mediation advisor. So you can develop a career in that. Then you can be an arbitrator. Different opportunities. You can be a conciliator, just as I explained earlier. Ombudsman, the concept is growing over and over. That has to do with, you have government-related issues, you have to resolve, you have to go and lay complaints, they investigate and all of those things with the aim of trying to see how matters should be resolved amicably. Now, a good ADR practitioner becomes a wonderful human resource manager because you are trained with a lot of things. For example, in Settlement House, the training encompasses soft skills like communication skills, conflict resolution skills, emotional intelligence, all of those things that are going to make you a better person. So when you acquire these skills, and you can now be a better human resource manager, and you can actually open up an organization that train people. For example, when you go to the banks, I know some of us must have had this experience. When you go to the bank, you say, oh, in fact, I'm going to close down this account. Why? Because somebody treated you the way you did not expect, disdainfully, disrespectfully. Is it because I'm banking with your bank and all of those things? So you can be a human, a resource manager. You can also be an investigator. In fact, you will do very well because questioning techniques It's one of the things you are going to be taught when you are doing a training, for example, with Settlement House. It's part and parcel of your training. You must know how to ask questions. Imagine you are not supposed to suggest the solution. So, but that you are there to facilitate the discussion. So all that you are going to be doing is asking questions and knowing the relevant question. You must know when you need it. In fact, as a lawyer too, you know you have that ability. You are trained in that ability. You know when you need an open question, you need somebody to explain. You know when you want a close answer and all of those things. So you can be a good peace builders. Conflict abound everywhere. We have peace ambassadors, you know, peace and conflict experts and all of those things. These are things that you can do and do very comfortably. Are we together? Are we together? So these are actually places, things you can do. A conflict manager, you know, conflict are managed, conflict are resolved. You can decide to manage a conflict, you can decide to help resolve the conflict, you can decide to prevent the conflict from happening. Are we together? So you can actually dive into any of this. Then you have facilitation and training. Like what I'm doing here, this is a part of facilitation or training. You can decide to make yourself equipped so that you can become a trainer with different organizations. You can go and train in your church, train in your mosque, train in your family, train in your company, train in other businesses and companies. You can train with them, teach them. Conflict abounds in your working place, in your business place, and you can teach people how to avoid conflict. You can teach people how to manage conflict. You can teach people how to resolve the conflict. Are we together? Are we together? Now, when you do these things, of course, you have to do something that will help you earn so that you can resolve. You can help people, you know, and then you cannot be helping people with emptiness in your pockets. So ADR training helps the participant to acquire relevant soft skills, like, for example, communication skills, conflict resolution skills, empathy, emotional intelligence, among others. You see, these things I just mentioned, you know, in our training, we do what we call understanding personality types. You just see somebody is just a quiet type. That is it. Anything you are doing is not, you know. So when you understand the nature of people, you'll be able to know how to relate with them and you know how to help them where necessary. Say, oh, this person is too sluggish for my liking. When you do ADR trainings, you become relevant in every other field. We have lawyers who are working in banks, not even as lawyers. They are working, doing different things. When you learn this thing, you become relevant in every skill and endeavor. In fact, when you go to organization and you say, I am an accountant, I have conflict resolution skills, or I'm a specialist, in fact, that is what is going to set you at an advantage. So these are things that you need to look out for. And then now, for aspiring lawyers, for lawyers, this is what the rules of professional conduct says. Rule 13, section 13, sub 3D of the rules of professional conduct provides. A lawyer in the representation of his client, you know, he must not fail. He shall not fail. Please, are you with me? I need everybody to listen to me. Are you with me? Please confirm.
We are with you. We are with you.
Yes. It says that in your representation of your client, a lawyer shall not fail or neglect to inform his client of the option of alternative dispute mechanisms before resorting to or continuing litigation on behalf of his client. Now you see, beyond everything that we are saying, if you are a lawyer, it means that ADR is supposed to become part and parcel of your practice. In fact, it is your professional responsibility. Failure to do that makes you in breach of the rules of professional conduct that regulates your practice as a legal practitioner. So when a person comes to you, you have to advise him. So it means you have to be versed in all the alternative dispute resolution mechanisms that are available, and then you advise the client appropriately, considering the type of dispute that he brings before you, and you are enjoined to actually exhaust all these mechanisms before resorting to court. So if lawyers know this, aspiring lawyers know this, then you will know how to prepare and arrange your practice. Unlike what is obtainable, where when you say, oh, let us settle, let's discuss this settlement, then people will begin to look at you and say, it's possible his case is very weak. No, maybe his weakness, his fear, he doesn't have a good case. No. How will I go and spend 5 years pursuing something in court when I can resolve it within just 1 hour, 2 hours, or 1 day or 2 days, Why can't I explore that? So I want you to know that ADR is part and parcel of your professional responsibility as a lawyer or as an aspiring lawyer. You are to promote the use of alternative dispute mechanisms. In fact, currently, they have passed the law on mediation and arbitration Act to replace the previous Arbitration and Conciliation Act. So you can see that we are actually moving forward. Now, finally, what do I need to do? I want to develop a career in this. What do I do? Somebody will be asking as we round up. ADR trainings help the participants to acquire soft skills, which I've mentioned earlier.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm so sorry to cut you short, sir, but I want to recognize a very important person in our midst, the President, Faculty of Law, Godfrey Okoye University. David, please unmute your mic and say hello to all of us.
Wow.
Hello, good evening. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to our...
Yes, Mr. President, can't you allow us the privilege to see your face?
I'm fighting on the place where there's no light. When I get to the place where there's light, I will...
It's all right. What's the name?
Ahmed David.
Ahmed.
Yes, Ahmed David.
Ahmed David. Please, you are welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you. We value you. We appreciate the opportunity you have given us to run this program and for the time you have created to be with us. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. As we're saying, you may be asking yourself, what do I need to do to be able to develop a career, to do the career, to carve a niche for myself in ADR or in a particular aspect of the ADR mechanism? One, specialization and mentorship. Now, I've mentioned different aspects of law. Some of us, you have taxation law, you have environmental law, you have international law and diplomacy, you have employment law, you have labor law, you have different kinds of law. You are a law student. When you develop interest or you see that you are actually specialized in a particular, you know a particular area of practice or an area of law very well, that's specialization. So when you have like some of these ASU strike and all of those kind of strike, you become an expert in employment law or all of those kind of educational dispute, or you are an educationist, that's a specialization. That specialization becomes the niche you can create for yourself. You are both a subject matter expert and specialist, and then you are now an ADR practitioner who helps people resolve dispute in that particular area. Now, it is not restricted to lawyers. As I mentioned earlier, even people who are non-lawyers can actually practice. Let's say you did accountancy. We have dispute that relates to figures, numbers, and all of those things. You have statistics. You have people who study management. You have people who study business. You have people who study all manner of things. These are some of the things that we are talking about. You can specialize. You need to specialize. And then mentorship. Look for people who are actually specialists in that area where you want to specialize. Then go in. Then you have people who are actually ADR specialists in the area in which you want to specialize. You get close to them. Mentorship, especially in ADR. ADR are private and confidential. So you are not going to get into a mediation session or an arbitration session unless the parties consent or that the mediator talks to the parties to allow you in. So if you are not under a mentor, it will be difficult for you to see certain things. And maybe it's because of this difficulty that our training in Settlement House are actually full of a lot of simulation and practical sessions where people act as mediators, parties, and all of those things, so that participants or trainees are going to be exposed to the real procedure or what happened in real life situation, when it comes to conflict resolution. Now, the third thing you need to do is to take relevant courses and trainings. Know the area where you want to practice. And once you know the area where you want to practice, then you can now take courses. First of all, you can take the normal courses to get you certified as maybe a mediator or arbitrator or a negotiator and the rest of them. Then we have specialized courses like family mediation, for example, construction mediation or arbitration, depending on the area. But the basic training that makes you an ADR practitioner is what you should go for. Aside from that training, you have to do continuous training. Like what we do, this is settlement hour. What we do under the settlement hour is continuous professional development for both our members and non-members alike, so that people will get updated. We will take different topics that are relevant and discuss them. That is what we do in settlement hour. So this program now is part of the settlement hour. We pass and share knowledge. So you must look out for opportunities, trainings that has to do with ADR anywhere it is. Learn, add to what you know, and then you are on your way in building a career for yourself. Then join groups, organizations, and associations that promote ADR. Settlement House is there, ICMC is there, NICAP is there. If you have opportunity to join them when they are doing programs, they are doing all of those things, you join so that you'll be able to see how things are being done. You are going to have insight, a lot of things that others may not know. Then volunteerism. Now the truth is that there are certain things you will never get to know until you volunteer your services for these things. When you volunteer to do something for someone, they expose you to certain things that ordinarily you will never come across. So when you volunteer, you get to attend some of the training and courses even for free, because you are volunteering to help or assist in one way or the other. So they will bring you in to do these things. And that is one of the easiest way to get developed, and for you to develop and build a career for yourself, in ADR. Then you can make research, writings in ADR, that area of interest, family law, construction law, all these areas that you feel you want, make research in them, write articles. Do things that will help people see that, when you post it in your platform in school, you post it online, people get to know on your status. Be putting things that relates to that area where you want to develop specialization, and people will really appreciate it, And then when they are looking for a specialist, in fact, even the online platform you see, Google will rate you based on the amount of information you keep putting in. They say, they are looking for specialist ADR. based on those things you have been posting online, they will rate you and then put you in your proper place. Then advocate for the use of ADR among students. Is it students? Advocate for the use of ADR among your friends, your families. Advocate for the use of ADR. You know, when you see people having disputes, say, oh, I don't have money to go to court, to help them see that there are alternative ways of resolving dispute. They can actually resolve their dispute through these particular ways. Then you can write essays and articles, in that area of your specialization. These are some of the things that you will do, and then it will help you build a career for yourself in ADR. Thank you for listening. And then if you have one or two questions, you can ask. Over to you, God's virtue.
Sir. Hello, sir.
Yes. Over to you.
It's time for questions and answer. Well, thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful session. So, does anybody have any question for our speaker?
Sir, can you hear me?
Very well, please.
I have a question, sir.
Okay, tell us your name and then ask your question.
Okay, Samuel from Omakuni, sir. So, sir, my question is, the Arbitration and Conciliation Act provides for, or it recognizes that most arbitration done in Nigeria, like commercial arbitration. So what I'm asking now is, in practice, are there other forms of arbitration other than commercial arbitration?
Well, I have mentioned severally the fact that you have construction arbitration. You even have if you can call it Christian arbitration. Are we together?
Yes, I can hear you. So that's like a practical thing that we see in like our Nigerian reality.
Okay. Go. Are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so as I was saying, the only type of arbitration I've witnessed or that is provided for in the Act is commercial arbitration. So there are other forms of arbitration in practice, right?
Yes, there are other forms of arbitration. There are other forms of arbitration, and it depends on what the interests of the parties are. For example, you can decide to, when we are talking about commercial, we are talking about dispute that involve commercial entities, to people who do businesses, all these big companies and the rest. When you go to oil, you have oil arbitration, you have construction arbitration, you have, in fact, religious arbitration. If you check for I think the peacemakers, the peacemakers, it's an ADR organization based either in the US, abroad. They do all forms of, they are Christian based, but then they do mediation, conciliation, and arbitration, and then that has to do with issues that maybe believers may decide to say, Christians may decide to say, okay, we want our dispute to be resolved this way. And then depending on how you count your ADR clauses, can decide to say, okay, when this type of dispute occurs, this is how we want to resolve it. All these things are stated. Are we together? So depending on the field or the area where that dispute is coming to, that thing is coming up, so, and we are even trying to advocate for it because of the expensive nature of arbitration. There are a lot of areas, areas where arbitration can come up, but when you look at the fee, people cannot afford to pay the fee. And because they cannot afford to pay the fee, they don't want to even put arbitration clauses in their agreement. If not, you have diverse kind of arbitration. In fact, even in landlord and tenants relationship or estate, this thing, there are arbitration clauses. You see them in their agreements. Where dispute occur, we want to resolve it by arbitration. But now we have different forms of ADR where you can decide to couch it in such a way that you explore one after the other until you're able to exhaust all the ADR mechanisms. Have I attempted your question?
Yes, sir, very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
Is there any other question, please?
Hello, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, Zim, let's hear you, please.
All right, thank you. So my question was, he mentioned something about taking courses and trying to broaden one's knowledge on arbitration. And so my question is, do you have any, besides SHATI, Site Settlement House, do you have like are there other and obviously the Institute of Chartered Arbitrators, are there other institutes or other programs that you suggest a newbie in arbitration would take, particularly when they don't want to have arbitration that's like restricted to Nigeria? Because I've had, for instance, some of our lecturers are fellows in arbitration in Nigeria and other jurisdictions at the same time. So are there specific programs that you would suggest the person to take to be able to, shall I say, pilot themselves along this line? And then secondly, you mentioned something like when you were mentioning types of arbitration in answer to Samuela's question, you mentioned something you described as religious arbitration. I find that curious. I need to know what that means, because I really don't know. I've never heard of it. I don't think I've ever come across it in all the instances I've heard of arbitration. So if you could take these two questions.
If I get your question, the first one has to do with if you can remind, please, the first question?
Okay, yes, I said, like, are there any suggested programs and
programs,
shall I say bodies that would help to advance besides SHATI and let's say the Institute of Chartered Arbitrators of Nigeria? Are there other programs or bodies you would suggest for persons who are just venturing into the field of arbitration?
Okay, your question is basically on arbitration. Now, when you talk about arbitration, we have different institutions. When you talk about arbitration in when you say international arbitration, domestic arbitration, the difference between them is that, for example, if you and I have a dispute and we are here in Nigeria, that becomes a domestic arbitration. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Are you with me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Okay, if two parties have a dispute and the dispute is within, as in, let's say two Nigerians have dispute in Nigeria that has to do with arbitration. That is referred to as domestic arbitration. Are we together?
Yes, yes.
So when you now have dispute that has to do with another, let's say a Nigerian here, and then another party outside of Nigeria, that becomes international arbitration. Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now if you want to develop your competence, the training you have taken already has given you the basics, but that you see you have level by level. You know, in some institution like in settlement house, you have associate, you have student members, you have associate members, you have full members, and then you have fellows. So also in NICAP, you have Nigeria Institute of Chartered Arbitrators, you have associates, you have members, and you have fellows. CIAP, Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK, also have these categories. So when you take a training, I believe you've done associate training, you can go further by doing the membership training, where you are going to be exposed to maybe on citral and all of those other model laws and the rest of them. Now you have done basically domestic arbitration. When you are going to membership, you are going to be exposed to other parts of other areas where you can develop more competence and more expertise. Then when you go to the fellowship, also you'll be exposed further to other areas. So you may decide to say, let me go for membership, right? That's another way. Then if you are looking for ADR organization within Kaduna, maybe within Nigeria, you know, aside from NICAP and this thing, we have arbitration particularly, you have different organizations. Like you have some multi-door court houses that train people both in mediation or arbitration. Are we together? Then you now have the Lagos Court of Arbitration is in Lagos. I don't know where you are, but you have some of these different organizations. When you are trying to, if you try to locate the multi-door court house in a particular state, you will see different organizations or ADR organizations that promote ADR. Then you now have international organizations that you can participate in their training through maybe virtually. Now, aside from the basic skills that you need as an arbitrator, if you have done that, what you need to do is to take specialized courses, or you take continuous professional development trainings. You know, like this kind of seminar that we do, you know, ADR organizations can actually do some seminars, masterclass courses like that. These are some of the things that you want to. Maybe if you join our ADR group, we share opportunities in ADR, be it mediation or arbitration, trainings, master classes, seminars, and all of those things. In fact, there are international competitions. If you want to develop your arbitration skills, you know, I believe, I know that there are a lot of organizations like the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, NCCDC, Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, yes. They also train in mediation and arbitration. They are not institution per se, but that they resolve disputes, both just like settlement house. We have the settlement house ADR center, and then you have the training aspect of it. They do both trainings and also they administer or practice both the arbitration and the mediation. So they organize some mentorship kind of program. You can decide to go into mentorship program with some of these institutions so that you can learn the practical way some of these things are done. We have competition even within Nigeria where it involves arbitration and mediation. In fact, there was one current one that was trending. Maybe we can talk further. We'll share some of those opportunities where you see inter-school or international competitions. The other time I was an assessor in an international competition that different
university students or ADR enthusiasts actually participate. So they rate you go from one level to the other. When you pass this level, you go to the next until you find the winner. So you can decide to find organizations like that that will help you develop the practical skills. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yes, sir.
So that is that. But when it comes to the issue of, I said, religious arbitration, it has to do with what you agree. ADR is party driven. It is the parties that decide what they want. So if you decide in your ADR this time, you say, okay, we are Muslims, and then what we want to do is that if dispute arise out of this thing, we want to appoint our pastor or our imam to be an arbitrator, so that he will use the Muslim laws or the Sharia law or the Christian or the Bible as the basis, of deciding our dispute. That becomes a religious arbitration. Are we together? Do you understand me?
Yes, I do.
So it is the parties that decide. If you decide that, parties have liberty to choose anybody. If two of them agree that they are going to choose a traditional worshiper to resolve their dispute according to traditional laws and custom or whatsoever, that's be it. As long as it is arbitration and the people submit to it and they bid and they deliver an award, that award is going to be enforced just like any other arbitration award that you know. I hope I've attempted your question.
Yes, sir, you have.
You can reach out and then we can talk further. You can chat me up. I've displayed, I think Emanuela or God's Virtue can share my number with anyone who may want to, so that we can discuss further. Yes, I think there was somebody who wanted to ask a question before we close.
Yes, sir. This is the moderator speaking. Please, the time we scheduled for the webinar was 10 p.m. So I feel the remaining questions should be directed to your DM. So I will just drop the number in the chat for everyone to see.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so in that case, I will let me say thank you to all the participants. I can see my all of you state really happy and excited that you are all here with me till this time. I hope that the time you have spent is actually worth it, and it is actually my delight. And then please feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can reach out to me personally through the number that was sent on the platform, or you can also reach out through Emanuela or God's Virtue. They can get across to me. And then eventually, if you have you want to do any kind of training in all of those things, we can discuss further on how we can be of help. And then we'll be very excited to welcome all of you who are interested in ADR, and see how we can be of help to you in any way possible. Thank you very much. God bless you. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We really, really appreciate it. Okay, so it's time for the vote of thanks by the Vice President of Godfrey Okoye University in the person of Samuela.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Nanchang Esquire. We really appreciate you. You've been very patient with us. You really taught us, and this opportunity is a very much fair one, because you are an expertise in ADR. So thank you so much, sir. We are lucky to have you in this webinar. In a very special way, I also like to thank Edunovechu, the moderator, and the president, Godfrey Okoye University Faculty of Law. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you for the question. Thank you for your participation. This is the end of the session. So, good night.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much,
you.
sir. We
Bye.
really appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Done.